Hello and welcome back to Ace Academy. Yuna's eyes flash.
I'm a strong advocate for reform. We need pilots to understand the severity of these conditions, and we can't encourage an environment of secrecy because that is what puts lives at risk.
She pauses, and then her cheeks flush.
Sorry, I didn't mean to yell at you.
It's okay. I'm glad there's someone like you here to fight for what's best for us pilots. Yuna checks the time.
I need to get going. Sorry for lecturing you.
No, don't be. I think it's great that you're passionate about this. Passion is what creates change. She smiles brightly.
I'll see you later, okay?
Yeah, see you. She gathers her things and leaves, and I finish up my coffee and follow her out of the cafe. I'm basically done for the day, but I don't feel like going home just yet. I wander the campus aimlessly as I decide what I want to do. We could study, check out the quad. Probably ought to study. I should stay on top of my classes, get some studying done. I'm more familiar with the campus now, and I have no trouble finding the library. Students lounge in the open areas, a coffee in one hand, a book in the other. Kinda reminds me of CINY. Guess some things just translate across cultures. I'm a little surprised to find out how many students are here so early in the semester. And it takes me a little while to find an empty desk. I finally find one on the third floor. It's not as secluded as I'd like it to be, but it'll do. Settling into my desk, I can't help but notice all the graffiti. Yup, some things really don't change. Pulling out my tablet, I get to work. After about half an hour, I'm interrupted by the student at the desk behind me. He's wearing stripes in his uniform, so he must also be a pilot.
Sorry to bother you. I don't know if you recognize me or not, but we have Piloting 101 together.
Well, you're vaguely outlined, but yes, I do recognize you. It looks vaguely familiar, but we've never spoken before. I nod.
I was wondering if you can help me with a question.
Sure.
For what use were gear initially developed?
I would assume military. It was for military use. Now they're commercially available everywhere. He grins.
Oh yeah, I think I remember reading that. Thanks.
After another nod of thanks, he returns to his text. I feel smarter for having known the answer. It's a pretty easy question. I mean, who the hell else builds giant combat mechs? Probably ought to blur that out. That'll be fine. Nobody else bothers me after that, and I'm able to complete my studying in peace. My phone rings and Yuna's name flashes on the screen. I shouldn't be chatting on the phone while in quiet study spaces, so I pack up my tablet and head into the group study room, where talking is allowed. Hey Yuna, how goes the search?
Actually, that's why I called you. I have some good news.
What is it?
I got you an interview.
Already? It's only been a day. How'd you do it?
Lots of phone calls.
I laugh. Thanks Yuna, this is great.
I know. It's with Warp Tech Corporation.
I nearly drop the phone. How did you get a major player like Warp Tech interested in us?
I told them the truth. You guys are a strong, up-and-coming team. And with the right sponsor there to support you, you'll be unstoppable.
Thanks. We'd definitely have an advantage if we had access to Warp Tech's weaponry. When's the interview?
Yeah, about that.
Her hesitation is ominous.
Your interview is tomorrow.
Okay. I'll be there. There's a pause before Yuna speaks.
Oh, good.
Is something wrong?
No, I was just expecting you to protest a little more.
Why?
Well, it's pretty short notice.
Okay.
Never mind.
Look, I need to call my team. I don't know if they'll be able to make
They
it.
don't all need to be there. As long as one member of the team is there, the interview can happen.
Does anybody else think we should keep Show the hell away from this interview?
Can you make it?
I need time to prepare, especially if I'm going in alone.
No, I'll be there. And as a member of the SBA, I'll be taking the lead in presenting your credentials. I've got everything under control.
Alright. I'll make my own preparations tonight. Meet you tomorrow?
Great! I'll meet meet you in front of the library after class.
Thanks again, Yuna. I owe you one.
It was my pleasure.
We both hang up, and the first thing I do is send a group text to my team. Got an interview with Warp Tech Corp tomorrow afternoon. Can any of you join? Okay, if you can't, I have it under control. A minute after I've sent the text, I receive a reply. From Sho, which is no surprise, he's always freakishly quick to respond. Broseph, I'll be hanging Fritz on the dock plan. I have no idea what that means. I text him back. So you mean... yes? You're funny. Good luck, let me know how it goes. Well, at least I got my answer. One down, 2 more to go. I've still got some time before I need to go home. Let's talk to Kaori. I am finally done with classes for the day. For some reason I'm strangely tired. Don't feel like hanging up around campus, so I'll go home and rest up. I walk to the parking lot and spot my bike where I left it. As soon as I reach it, a sleek white car pulls up and blocks the exit. The car has tinted windows and looks like something way out of my price range. I can only see the back of the car. Guess that it might be a Panther? Although the engine's still running, there's no movement from the car. That's kind of weird. Are they waiting for someone? I mean, if so, I wish they'd pick a different spot. How am I supposed to leave while they're blocking the exit? And wouldn't it make sense to pick someone up closer towards campus and not in the heart of the parking lot? I hop on my bike as I ponder those questions. Just as I'm about to back out, the passenger door opens and a smooth leg steps out. And following the leg is a cute girl with red hair. Wait a minute! That's Kaori. Stay still. I pause on my bike, ready to watch the scene unfold. I'm far enough away that Kaori won't spot me. The driver's side door opens and an older man steps out. He looks European, definitely not Japanese. Actually, he looks kind of freaky. I think it could just be because I'm so used to anime characters having incredibly pointy chins that a slightly squarer chin just looks strange. Or it might be the eyes. I think the eyes are too far up ahead. Anyway, I guess he's in his mid-30s. I can tell he keeps in shape by the way his shirt clings to his biceps. He reaches into the back of the car and hands Kaori a bag. With a wide smile, he envelops her into a hug. I wait for the inevitable slap, but that never happens. Instead, she accepts the hug without protest. How is she calm right now? She's even smiling back at him. He tries to linger in the hug, but Kaori gently pulls away and waves goodbye to him. And the man waves back as he returns to his car and drives off. As she heads back towards the campus, a path leads straight towards my parked bike. Hey, Kaori. She jumps slightly at my voice.
Oh, it's you.
She glances behind her and sighs with relief when the white car is nowhere in sight.
What are you doing here?
I was just on my way home. Picking up my bike so I can go home.
Oh, right, of course.
What about you?
Heading to my dorm.
Oh, okay. What were you up to today?
Does it matter?
I'm just curious. I want to learn more about you. Her expression softens slightly, and I think I see a faint blush of pink in her cheeks.
It's nothing. Just a thing I went to.
It's her business. I should respect Kaori's privacy and trust she'll tell me when she's ready. Okay, if you say so. She nods.
I'm going now. I'll see you later.
Yeah, later. I wonder what all that was about. As soon as Kaori's out of view, I kick my bike into gear and head home. As soon as I get home, Nikki jumps off the couch and greets me.
There you are. What took you so long?
What? She has her hands on her hips and taps her foot impatiently. Did I forget that we had plans tonight? Run? I drop my stuff on the floor and open the front door when Nikki grabs my collar.
Hey! Where are you going?
Losing my balance, I fall backwards. Nikki's face hovers above me. It's not my fault, don't be angry.
Why did you run?
I forgot we had plans.
Huh? We didn't make plans.
Oh. Nikki helps me get back on my feet. Then why were you waiting for me?
Well, I have some exciting news.
Nikki sits down on the couch and I follow her. What is it?
Remember when you suggested I start a cooking club at school?
Yeah?
I took your advice and spoke with the school administration, and they loved the idea.
I already have a teacher who's agreed to sponsor the club, and a few of my classmates have approached me asking if they could join.
That's awesome, Nikki.
I know. I was thinking of structuring it so that we can learn a new dish each week, and anyone can share a dish, so it's not just me leading everything. Our first meeting is next week, and I thought I could start us off by teaching something simple and non-Japanese.
She pauses and looks thoughtfully at me.
What do you think I should make?
Sushi, sandwich, or salad. Or I would suggest a bolognese recipe, but sandwiches? Make sandwiches. Everyone loves sandwiches.
Yeah. Because everyone already knows how to make them.
Maybe they know how to make normal sandwiches, but not necessarily the fancy tiny ones that are gone in one bite.
You mean finger sandwiches?
Jeez, Nikki, that's morbid.
Let me guess. Those are the only foods you can make.
Of course not. I also know how to make mac and cheese.
Eating stuff from a box? That's not cooking.
I can make spaghetti.
Uh-huh. Maybe you should join our club.
And that is my cue to leave.
No, don't go. I was just kidding.
I laugh. I know, but I've got some studying I need to do anyway.
Okay.
Congratulations on getting your club started. I bet it'll end up being the most popular club in your school.
Thanks. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. I like having a smallish size group so we can all interact easily. But having a larger group means more exposure to new foods. Anyway, that's getting way ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, you still need to decide what you're going to do for your first meeting.
Some help you've been.
I laugh and begin to head upstairs. You know you still love me.
That's what you think.
She waves goodbye anyway. Once in my room, I settle down at my desk and begin collecting research and statistics I can present at the interview. I want to be well informed, especially if I'm going to be representing my team. Wait, did Kaori or Mayu even respond to my text? Checking my phone shows me they did. I open Mayu's text first. I hope it doesn't cause you too much trouble if I don't go, but I have a previous engagement and can't make it. Best of luck. Well, at least she was nice about it. Next, I open Kaori's text. Why did you schedule an interview so soon? Of course I can't make it, don't mess this up. Thanks for the vote of confidence, Kaori. At least Yuna will be there to back me up. I read over my notes a few more times until I'm confident about what I'll say, and then I head to bed early so I can be well rested tomorrow. I wake up after the first sound of my alarm and hop out of bed. Today's the interview. As I get dressed, I practice my speech in my head. Breakfast goes by in a blur as I try to anticipate what questions they'll ask me. And before long, I reach the campus. As if in a daze, I go to class, take a seat by the window.
Good morning, class. I hope you are all prepared for the pop quiz.
Pop quiz? I didn't hear about a pop quiz.
You are absolutely right. That is why, young man, it is called a pop quiz.
The only person who's amused by that is the professor. He hands out one page to each student, and I'm soon staring at a sheet of questions. I breeze through the quiz. These questions are so easy since the material's a repeat of what I studied at CINY. I spent some time completing the rest of the questions. With my quiz complete, I hand it in at the front of the class. Thank you. I nod and return to my seat. The professor waits for the rest of the class to finish before beginning the lesson.
That is all for today. Have a good afternoon.
As soon as class is dismissed, I rush out of the building. I'm not sure why I'm in such a hurry. I still have a few hours. I'm not sure why I'm in such a hurry. I still have a few hours before I need to meet Yuna. I wonder what I should do to pass the time. I still love the way that's phrased. Let's go talk to Mayu. Haven't talked to her much. I go to the library to study, and I sit down at a secluded desk between the stacks of books. After a couple of minutes, I think I hear a muffled thumping, as if someone's trying to quiet their jumping. Following the noise to a nearby stack, I see Mayu balancing on her toes, trying to reach a book on the top shelf. Her fingers barely graze the ledge of the shelf. She tries a dainty hop, but still fails to reach the book. She sighs, she pouts, and she readies herself to try again. Stifling a laugh, I walk over and easily pull out the book she needs. Maya blinks at me as I hand it to her.
Oh, thank you.
She hugs the book to her chest and stares shyly at the ground. No problem. It seemed like you could use some help there. Her cheeks redden as she nods. I take another look at what she's holding. Hey, isn't that a Piloting 101 textbook?
Yeah,
I thought so. Guess you're working on the assignment now.
yeah.
She gives me a strange look. Look, I only know that because I have to retake Piloting 101. I'm not stalking you or anything.
Oh, okay. That's good to know.
There's a long pause. Maya refuses to make eye contact with me, and I'm worried I might have scared her when she suddenly speaks.
Why do you have to take Piloting 101 again?
As soon as the words leave her mouth, her eyes go wide and her blush deepens.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be rude.
I can't help but grin at her reaction. No, don't worry, it's a normal question. Basically, my credit from CINY didn't transfer. Apparently some of the material's different here for the introductory course, but so far everything we've covered's been the same.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, that said, since I've taken this class before, if you need help, feel free to ask me. She smiles.
That would be great.
We stand in silence again. She seems like she wants to ask me something, but is too shy to say it. Offer to help her now. Would you like any help now?
Sure. But only if it's not too much trouble.
Of course not. I always have time for my friends. Her eyes meet mine when I say friend, before she quickly looks away again. Another blush stains her cheeks. Despite that, she smiles and nods. And we sit down at the desk together and I go over my notes with her. As we settle at the desk, I pull out my tablet and Mayu pulls out a spiral notebook. She opens her textbook, flips to the correct page, and opens her notebook to a fresh page, a pencil at the ready as she begins to read the text. I watch her curiously as she meticulously writes her notes in a fine print. After a couple of minutes, she looks up, and our eyes meet for a second before she looks away. A blush stains her cheeks. Are you writing your notes? Mayu seems self-conscious.
Yeah.
Could be worse. I had someone who would take notes in lectures, and then after the lecture, they would rewrite them, but in different colours for different things. I mean, okay, if it works for them, fair enough, but boy. To each their own. I shrug. Whatever works for you. Mayu blinks.
This doesn't seem strange to you?
It's different, but hey, you do what you need to do. Mayu smiles.
I find it's easier for me to write things down than to type it out.
I knew somebody else who used to record all their notes and then listen to them while they slept. Actually, I know someone who used to take a dictaphone into the lectures, record everything the lecturer said, and then... Yeah, I have no idea what they did with it after that. I don't know if they just re-listened to it, if they typed it up or what, but... Really? She nods. How do you get into that habit?
I wasn't allowed to have electronics when I was growing up.
I can't remember the last time I was without my tablet. How did you survive? Mayu giggles.
Well, it wasn't so bad. I think that's where I got my love of books. I wasn't allowed to play games very often, but
Rubbish bin
Father always
outside.
encouraged reading.
I think. Yeah, it's definitely the garden bin. Apologies if you can hear that clattering outside, but you usually can't hear it very well because, let's face it, my microphone just isn't that good, so...
He said he didn't want me to get distracted from my studies, so that's why I wasn't allowed to have a tablet.
Sounds like your father takes your education very seriously.
He does. I was in high school when I got my first tablet, but by then I was so used to using a pen and paper that typing out my notes felt unnatural.
Well, the one upside of writing all the time is that your handwriting's really neat. Yeah, right. I wouldn't be able to read my notes if I wrote everything down. Mayu giggles.
I'm sure that's not true.
I read somewhere once that a person's handwriting can say a lot about them. Wrong. This has been scientifically debunked many, many times.
Oh, really?
Well, your characters are all very neat and stuff. Strokes are light and rounded, not angular or spiky.
What does that mean?
As I said, somebody's yelling out there. Probably nothing important. For the record, this is all bollocks, but it means you tend to be more shy, avoid confrontation. You have a tendency to be more creative. Maya seems pleased.
That actually sounds accurate.
Yeah, but you could tell that by talking to her for more than 2 seconds. The handwriting doesn't lie. Anyway, we should focus on the assignment.
Right.
She turns her back to her text and I return to mine. As I'm reading, I can see Mayu glancing at me out of the corner of my eye. I look up.
Well, do you think you could explain this passage to me?
I grin. Of course. I continue to help her until her assignment is complete. Yuna's already waiting for me at the library, a tablet with the SBA logos clutched in her hand. She smiles and breathes a sigh of relief when she sees me.
Oh, good. You're still wearing your uniform. I forgot to tell you yesterday to wear it, and remembered too late to text you.
I was so preoccupied on what I would say, I forgot to think about what I'd wear. No worries. I hope my voice sounds more confident than I feel. Yuna notices the waver in my voice, and she places her hand on my shoulder. The heat of her hand soothes my nerves, and I relax a little bit.
Okay, well, are you ready to go?
Yes. She starts towards the bus stop when I stop her. I could drive us. Her cheeks turn pink, but she grins widely. I'm immediately reminded of how her face lit up the last time she saw my bike.
That would be great.
I lead her to my bike and we both hop on with ease. Once settled, we speed off, and Yuna directs me where to go, and eventually tells me to park in front of an impressive building. It's narrow, but shoots straight into the sky, cutting through the clouds. As we walk in, a perky receptionist greets us from behind her desk.
Welcome to WorkTap Corporation. How may I help you?
Yuna steps forward.
I'm Yuna Misaki from Ace Academy's SBA. We have an appointment with Mr. Takeda.
The receptionist smiles and gestures to the empty chairs.
Of course. If you'll please take a seat, he'll be with you shortly.
As soon as we take our seats, the receptionist types a rapid sequence into her computer, then drags the document from a monitor onto her table and disappears into a hall in the back. I glance at Yuna. She's meticulously going over her notes. Are you nervous? She thinks for a minute.
Not as much as I thought I'd be. Are you?
I'm either really nervous or really hungry. My stomach is in knots. Yuna smiles encouragingly.
Don't worry, you'll do great.
Her confidence helps ease my nerves and I smile back. Look, I'm glad to have you here with me. A blush creeps into her cheeks, but she seems pleased. The receptionist comes back and gestures for us to follow her. Her ponytail bounces behind her as she walks briskly down the hall and directs us into a spacious office. A portly older man sits behind the desk in an old-fashioned mahogany desk. His jowls wiggle a little as he offers us seats, which we both take. The walls are painted white, but one wall has a translucent sheen with Yuna's SBA submission packet projected on it. His chair squeaks in protest as he leans forward to greet us.
Miss Misaki, it's a pleasure to see you again.
Thank you for agreeing to meet with us, Mr. Takeda. I'd like to introduce my associate.
I'm Richard. It's nice to meet you. He nods in acknowledgement while Yuna continues.
He is here to represent his team at Ace Academy.
And you are in need of a sponsor.
Yes, sir. He waves a hand towards the wall and shuffles the data on there.
As you can see, Miss Misaki did a detailed job of describing you and your team in your application. But I'd like to hear from you. Tell me about yourself.
Well, I've always had an interest in gear. I grew up in the world of gears and knew from an early age I wanted to be a pilot. While a student at CINY, I began my program in piloting and top marks in all my classes. I transferred here and tested into the pilot program at Ace Academy, where I'm pursuing my degree in piloting.
As a transfer student, that's not an easy program to test into.
He sounds impressed.
Tell me, out of all your other options, why did you choose Warp Tech Corporation?
You're the best around. It was an easy decision. Warp Tech Corporation sets the standard for gear weaponry. I read about your latest announcement on the advancement in particle technology. Some output on beam weaponry while reducing core usage by 15%. None of your competitors have made a breakthrough like that yet.
There has also been some controversy over that release.
Some are saying that using the new technology will affect the longevity of a weapon, but there's no proof of that yet. I'd prefer to see evidence than believe rumours. He nods.
It's refreshing to see a young person keeping up to date with the latest releases.
I think I detect a hint of approval in his voice.
Okay, and why should Warp Tech Corporation choose you? In other words, what sets you apart from the competition?
My team is half women. I'm Ooh. Now, this is actually the previous two were blindingly obvious. Let's go with I'm international. As someone who grew up overseas, I bring a new point of view to my Japanese teammates. If you invest in us, you'll be investing in international alliances.
But couldn't the same be said for any other international pilot studying at ACE? And there is, of course, the potential backlash if we support an international pilot over a full team of domestic pilots.
Perhaps that wasn't the best angle to use.
Well, I think I've heard enough for now. Miss Misaki, do you have a copy of your
Well, I
team's
got 2 out of
qualifier
3 of those
transcripts?
right, so...
Yes, of course.
She flips on her tablet and flicks a document on the projected wall. The interview seems to be going well. I glance at Yuna, who smiles encouragingly at me. Mr. Takeda takes a quick glance at the file and frowns.
Your team is only ranked 21?
Yes, sir. He sighs and turns off the projection.
You seem generally passionate about your team and your studies, and perhaps if the circumstances were different we would consider your candidacy. Unfortunately, Warp Tech only accepts teams who are ranked within the top 10 from ACE Academy.
While I'm still processing the rejection, Yuna protests on my behalf.
Mr. Takeda, couldn't you make an exception? You said yourself that if rank weren't a factor, his team would be a strong candidate. A representation by you would make a significant difference in their growth and development, and their success reflects positively on you and your company.
Can I also point out we got rank 21 in spite of the fact I had no weapons?
I'm sorry, Miss Misaki. I do believe with skills like his he will find a sponsor. Just not with us.
Won't you even give him a chance?
Miss Misaki, I'm sure you understand the image that we have built and what would happen to that image if we stopped recruiting from the top 10. I thank you very much for your interest in us and wish you the best of luck in your future endeavors.
He had a very weird way of pronouncing the word endeavours. His voice has a hard edge of finality, and he gestures towards the door and returns his attention to his desk. All pretense is dropped. Yuna storms out of the office, while I follow calmly behind. Disappointment makes my feet feel very heavy. After we leave the building, Yuna whirls to face me.
What? A hypocrite! How can his company promote taking risks when he won't take any himself? I'm sorry you had to go through that.
Yeah, it's alright, it was a long shot anyway. Look, even though we didn't get the sponsorship, I still appreciate you helping me out.
Don't give up just yet. I will get you a sponsor.
Leaving less to the imagination might work in our favour. Oh, come on! I'm not sure how far positive thinking will get us. I like your enthusiasm, but I'm not sure that alone will find us a sponsor. She looks at me blankly. Without waiting for me to answer, she hops on the back of my bike. I get on after her and start the engine. Yuna's quiet the entire ride back to campus, and when she arrives she gives me a hurried goodbye and rushes off, leaving me wondering just what she has planned. Well, sitting here and stewing in my thoughts isn't productive. I have some time before I need to go home. Maybe someone will be free. And my only option now is Xiao. Let's see if Shu wants to go hang out at the arcade or something. I call and he picks up after a few rings. Let us partake in the merriment of cyber skirmishing. It's time to go to war. I cannot do it alone. Will you follow me into the gates of purgatory?
That's a hefty request, my good sir.
It involves free snacks at the arcade.
That's simply an offer I can't refuse.
I figured as much.
I'll meet you there.
After hanging up, I head out to the arcade. Right, that seems like a decent enough point to end this part, so thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next.